we'll just keep it nice and informal and everything as well, yeah. Okay. So, I mean, has anybody seen the videos?
Yeah.
Already, I'd say yes. So mostly, really, what you want to do is actually hear what it sounds like. Yeah. So, I mean, I'll just give you guys a bit of a rundown anyway, and we'll spend some individual time and stuff as well. So, it took 6 years for them to create. 4 years of them, 6 years of discussions, and 4 years of them actually working on it to get it together. So it's all new models, so it's not a pod, it's not a continuation of that sort of legacy. It's a brand new thing. So it's 45 guitar models in there. There's 7 different bass amps in there as well. You've got 70 different effects, and the way that they're doing it now is real component modeling. So it's fascinating to see the way that Ben in Calabasas works, in that he actually has he'll look at an amp circuit board, or he'll look at the circuit diagram, and he'll judge which point of the circuit board where something's changed in the actual tone, and he'll do like a model of just that little section of the circuit board. So it could be from the input jack to the first preamp tube. So he measures what that's doing and what it'll do in the different circumstances. Then he'll put that on his desktop, and then he connects that to the next point of the circuit path. So the next point of the circuit path, he may have a couple of preamp tubes in there. So he measures what they do, and then that goes on his desktop as well there, on his screen, and he has the first part. So he builds up this virtual amplifier, which can have up to 15 different little profiles, little models, all running together just for the preamp tubes. And then he measures the whole circuit board of the amp or the pedal or whatever he's modelling is actually done and put together like that. So it all works like the original sort of amplifier. So that brings a whole more loads of realism and detail to the sound. We also wanted to have it so that there's a lot of competitors' products out there that are really difficult to work. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that kind of thing, but there's a lot of menus, there's a lot of pages. That's alright, that's easy enough. But yeah, I mean, it can be, there's quite a bit of stuff now, so we want to make it so that you can very quickly get to the sound that you want to get. So I'll let we'll have a quick listen to a few of the sounds in there, and then we'll talk maybe about how you actually edit and sort of build the sounds. So we're running through 2 of the L2 speakers here. So this is, it's the first patch I've come to here, so this is kind of your Marshall Plexi sound. That's really the last part of the signal chain as well, so you could, I mean, that sounds fantastic to me, but if I had a real Plexi, I've still got to rely on somebody miking that up. I've still got to rely on the sound guy at the gig or in the studio capturing that sound. That's actually been done for you. That's like the last part of the signal chain, so that's what you would hear in your studio monitors or hear coming through the PA system as well. So it's much more a new process, there's much more detail to the sound. So if I play softly, I can put a clone pedal on that, so clone overdrive pedal. And then from what I was saying before, when we're doing the component modelling there, if you think about like an old sort of unified pedal, it actually has a light bulb as part of the circuitry. So we actually have a model on his diagram of all these different blocks all daisy chained together. There's actually a light bulb there which actually models different light bulbs in the way they come on. So for something like the unified, you get a much more analog kind of GUI. Right, chewy? Yeah, chewy. It's a good word. I've heard that word recently on one of the videos, but I don't think it was
all over the internet on the gear page.
Oh, is it right? I'll check in there occasionally. You can tell it's moving in a really kind of analogy way there. It's not. It's like kind of uneven and it's kind of stuff.
These obviously in stereo.
Yeah.
On their sides. With the HD 500 I couldn't get them to go into stereo because they instantly went into sum to left and right. Is this?
You should be able to. you should have been like line 6 linking them together or doing like that.
On line 6 linking, you have to on the top left and right. But obviously it's working in stereo.
Yeah, it's stereo there, it's line 6 line, yeah. I'll just run through a bunch of different amps. So we have next a dual rectifier. Really soft with that. Back the guitar off. If I had a dual rectifier amp and I took it out and mic'd it up and it came to the PA sounding like that, I'd be pretty pleased with that. Well, I'd be ecstatic. Bogner Uber shout. Big warm sound. Things like divided by 30. Kind of class A amp, very dynamic. Any of the effects and anything that I want into that. So the same amplifier with the Ibanez tube screamer. And then I can add things like the rotary speaker simulator. So I love this. So like I said before, the way that we wanted to do this was to have it so it was super easy and super quick to edit. So some things that you'll not see on any other sort of effects processors. We have, everything's color coded in the same way that we had with the Fireball and we have the M series pedals. So anything that's a green LED is a delay pedal. So in a live situation I can very quickly see that's anything that's yellow is going to be a dynamic effect or a fuzz or a distortion. Anything that's blue is going to be some kind of modulation pedal. And orange is going to be reverb. So in a live situation I can very clearly see what I'm going to be stomping on in even a sort of dull stage. I can also name all of these as well. So I've got scribble strips on there. So I can name that whatever I want it to be. It's going to default to the name of the pedal, but I can name that for presets. I can name it for individual stomp pedals. So in terms of its live use, it's going to be really super clear and super easy to do. If you're the sort of player who prefers to have things and have maybe one amp sound and switch in individual stomp pedals, because that's a really popular thing to do now with all the boutique pedals on the market, you could run it like that, and I can even then take these two foot switches and actually assign different pedals to them as well. So I could have 10 different foot switches for individual stomp pedals there. I've got 4 effects loops, so I can actually run other pedals, like external pedals, if I've got any favourite pedals in there as well. And I can assign that obviously to switch in the loops on any of these pedals as well. In terms of the processing power in this, if I wanted to, I could have 32 pedals on at the same time. So So you'd never want to do that, but it's got the power there to do that. You know, on HD 500 you can have 8, 30, 32 on it. You know. Depending on what those pedals are, if you try to have 32 reverb pedals, it's probably not going to like that very much. Yeah, reverb's a very processor intensive, a very processor intensive thing. I have 4 different paths, so before I do that, so that is what 32 different pedals looks like. So it's probably worth you kind of stepping forward a little bit to see this, because we'll just talk about this sort of now. So in the screen there, you can see I've got the different paths. I have 8 blocks on there, like the HD 500. Then I'm routing that signal right down here to the next path, to the next one, the next one. So by the time it comes out at the end here, as one customer said, it's like a snakes and ladders thing. If you think of like a snake going down there, kind of makes sense as well. There's 32 things assigned there. So this patch is really designed to be pretty, as I've got no idea what it sounds like. But I've then assigned these so we can see all the nice colours of the LEDs. But what that also does is we didn't want to have to go down lots of different menu pages to get to the sound that you wanted. So these six rotary blocks are here. That's where all the menus are that you want to change. So if I want to change the parameters of this delay, as opposed to pressing the pedal in, it's capacitance foot switches. So if I just touch the foot switch, it'll jump to the parameters for that pedal. So if you touch it with a glove on, it won't do that. If you touch it with your foot, you know, unless you go with a shoe on, it's not going to do that. But just by touching those, I've got instant access to all the parameters right up there on the screen. Yeah. So it's super easy, it's super quick to do pretty much anything. We can create a patch from scratch as well. So in fact, let's do that. One more thing, sorry, before we do that. We have 4 different stereo paths here. So the processing power on this will enable me to either have one guitar running into 4 different amplifiers, I've got just put some delays on there, and I've assigned it to 4 different outputs. Because we've got so many ins and outs on there, I could, at its most extreme setting, have 4 L2 speakers set up, and have one that was a Vox, one that was a Marshall, one that was a divided by 30, and one that was a Fender Bassman. You know, I could actually do that. It's got the processing power to do that. Or we could pick 4 guitar players here, and we could use any of the inputs, and 4 different people could play with it at the same time, and actually run through 4 different amps, all plugged in, and then run them out to different speakers as well, so we're all separate, but this was doing the whole lot. It's an extreme way, but it gives you an idea of what these sort of 4 paths are doing. So let's say I wanted to create a patch from scratch. Excuse my poetry. So, 8 different blocks here. So the menu that you're going to see now really is the menu that you would see to do like 95% of the things here. So if I want to add a cabinet model in the middle of this, I'm just going to use this joystick. So this joystick, it rotates, you press it in, or it goes left or right or up and down. Yeah? So I'm going to just press that, and this is the menu where you're going to see all the stuff here. So if I scroll down here, choose a cabinet, press it in, I want 2 cabinets, so I'm going to have a cabinet left and right, press it again, then choose the first of the cabinets that I want to choose here. So once I've selected the cabinet, now I want to select an amp, so I'm going to select another block. Press that in, down, add an amp, scroll down, choose an amp. Now I've got the amp, and I'm going to do this, it's that same process for everything that's on there. So if I want to put a delay post the amp, press it in, same process. So I want to go stereo, so I'm going to choose stereo delay, main column. And I'm basically just building that signal path up like that. So the guitar's coming in here, it's hitting the amp, it's hitting the speaker, it's hitting the delay. If I want to put a modulation effect in front, press it in, so I want to put a chorus in there. It couldn't be any easier, really. It's the easiest of easy thing. I want to add an overdrive to the front of that. Scroll down to distortions, press it in, press it in. It takes literally like a few seconds to actually get your head around exactly what it's doing. You're seeing everything here. Maybe I want to add a noise gate to the start of that. Dynamics. A hard gate right at the start there. So now, if I want to assign that to a foot switch, so bearing in mind with the HD 500, if I was doing this, or any other product, because I don't find the HD 500 that difficult to work in comparison to other things like the.
I do work doing it. I don't work with the editor.
Right. Yeah. So you kind of got used to it, but it's like it's just this is so much easier. But assigning things to normally on effects processor, you need the manual. You know, you need to do that. On this, you don't. So if I want to assign that gate to this pedal, I just hold the foot switch 2 seconds, OK it, and that's it. That's it done. Go to the next one, assign that to that foot pedal, OK it, that's it done. Assign it to here. So I've built a patch here, which is actually quite an elaborate patch. We've chosen an amp, we've laid out foot switches on the floor, So we've done some pretty clever stuff here pretty quickly on that as well. And now, if I want to then assign MIDI controls, I mean, if you think about having like one of the competitors' product and you want to assign something to the expression pedal, again, even if you own that product for a few years, you might have to actually get the manual and figure out how to do that. On here, if I want to assign a spread to this expression pedal, I press that and hold it down. So learn control that function now. So whatever I touch now, whether it's on the variax with the tone pot on there, or whether it's an external expression pedal, or this one, it's waiting for information as to what controls you do. So when I press that, it's learned that controller, and now that's it, assigned as quickly and as easily as that. You know, so on the back, ins and outs, we have 4 different effects loops. So you can assign all your pedals to that. You use the 4-cable method on there as well. You do that. Got external switching jacks on there, so if you're using it with the PV5150, you can actually get it to switch over the channels on that, and switch over the reverb and everything as well. And you'll do that within each preset as well. So as you do that as you switch over from preset A5, A to 5B, it'll send that all. So yeah, that's it. You can use it as a USB interface as well, so it's going to stream audio out there. If you want to start recording with a vocal mic on there as well, we've got the mic on there, which has got the same preamp as the M20D on there, and it's got phantom power on there as well, so you can actually use it as a real interface on there as well. And overall, I mean, so the message really is that it feels real when you play. So it feels like there's actually an amp in the next room. We just created that patch from nowhere, so I'm not going to have a listen to that one. But it feels like a real amplifier. It responds like that. Obviously, all the different effects and everything in there. It's really easy to control, as you saw, because it's almost just having like an interface on an iPad. You know, you see what you see, you touch. You know, if you want to change the distortion, you tap the distortion control, and it's going. You've got instant access to the parameters there. So that's 95% really of what you would be doing with it. Is that page that we just saw there? You know, but I think we'll all agree that sounds pretty outstanding, really. If I went to a gig and I had, you know, even with we'd say the biggest, most expensive setup in the world of pedals and amps, and if it's not captured right, you know, somebody puts, get to the gig and somebody puts just a cheap microphone on and, hangs it over the top of the cabinet, you know, that's the sound that you're getting there is a Bogner Uber shell. 412, that's people that have actually spent time. You know, when you go to a studio and you mic up an amplifier, just a couple of centimeters or an inch makes a massive difference to the sound. And, you know, unless you're going to spend hours in a sound check doing that same thing, you're probably going to get that same sound.